we're going to use the properties of limits and these facts. We have 4 facts here. 1, 2, 3, 4 that we already discussed in previous videos. You either learned by plugging in doing it algebraically or by the table to find limits. And we're going to use where x is in radians to find the limits, not degrees. So the first one we're going to do is the limit as x approaches 0 of tan of x over x. And what we're going to do first is use our trig identities and write this as the limit as x approaches 0. And I'm going to write tan of x as sine of x over cosine of x. Because remember, we're going to be using our properties. Now, I'm going to separate this out first by writing this as the limit as x approaches 0 of sine of x over x times cosine of x, which is, I can multiply this by 1 here and say this equals the limit as x approaches 0 of sine of x over x times 1 over cosine of x. Now we already know that this equals 1 here, this from the previous page. So let me go back real quick. We're using the number 1 fact. So we're going to end up having the limit. I'm going to break this down. I'm going to do it over here. The limit as x approaches 0 of sine of x over x times the limit as x approaches 0 of 1 over cosine of x. Now this equals 1. So now I only have to deal with this piece. And this piece we're going to use as, we're going to break out, use the quotient property. So we're going to do the limit as x approaches 0 over 1. And then we're going to do the limit as x approaches 0 of cosine of x. Now we already know that the limit as x approaches 0, cosine of x is 1. So we get this piece, let me do this, this piece right here is 1. So that's 1 times 1 over 1, which equals 1. Okay? Now, in mathematics, when they give you a hint like this, you have to use it. It doesn't mean they think that you don't know. They just mean if you don't use this, that you won't be able to do the problem. So we're going to take the limit as x approaches 0 and rewrite use our double angle theorem as 2 sine of x cosine of x over x. And then I'm going to break this down as 2 limit as x approaches 0, 2 times the limit of sine of x over x times the limit as x approaches 0, should have put that here too, cosine of x. Now we know this is 1. Let me do this in red. This is 1, and we know this is 1. So we get 2 times 1 times this piece, which is 1, and that equals 2. Okay, the next one we're going to do is the limit as x approaches 0 of 3 sine of x plus cosine of x minus 1 over 4x. Now what I'm going to do is break this down as the limit as x approaches 0 of 3 sine of x over, what did I do? 3 sine of x over 4x plus cosine of x minus 1 over 4x. Now, then I'm going to split up the limits, so I'm going to put the limit of x as it approaches 0 of 3 sine of x over 4x plus the limit of x as it approaches 0 of cosine of x minus 1 over 4. And basically what I'm going to do in the next page is pull out this 3/4 and the 1/4. So we're just going to rewrite it again but pull it out. So we have 3/4 times the limit as x approaches 0 of sine of x over x plus 1/4 of cosine of x minus 1 over x. Now, we know that this piece here equals 1, and that was our goal. We're using our facts that we already know. This equals 1. So we get, no, this actually equals 0. So we're going to get 3/4 times 1 plus 1/4 times 0, and that's going to equal 3/4, because that goes away. Okay, we're going to do one more, and the last one is the limit as x approaches 0 of sine squared plus sine x times the quantity of cosine x minus 1 all over x squared. Now I'm going to break this down as the limit as x approaches 0, and I'm just going to break these two pieces, the plus, apart. Sine squared of x over x squared plus the limit as x approaches 0 of sine x times cosine of x minus 1 over x. I'm going to further break it down as the limit as x approaches 0 of sine of x. I'm a little dyslexic. Sine of x over x times sine of x over x, and you can break this limit down even further. Let me go ahead and do that here. I hope you know what I'm talking about. So basically, I'm going to do the limit as x approaches 0 of sine of x over x. So I kind of skipped a step and broke this down twice, because this right here, we can multiply these two pieces and get that. Okay? Now we're going to add the limit of as x approaches 0, and I'm going to break this one down to sine of x over x times the limit as x approaches 0 of cosine x minus 1 over x. Just over x, yeah. So basically, when you break this down, this is x squared, sorry. When you multiply these two, you would have gotten this piece right here. So we already know that this first piece is 1. This piece is 1, so 1 times 1 is 1. This is 1, and this is 0. So on the last page here, basically what we're going to have is 1 times 1 plus 1 times 0, and that equals 1. Okay? And that's all. The next video is going to be on one-sided limits, and then we'll talk about continuous functions.